Hello, radical educators, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. My name is Dr. Arianna Howard. I am the creator and lead trainer for Radical Learning Spaces. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. You don't want to miss great content. Now, let's get to the good stuff, or should I say scary stuff? Is that a more accurate name? Help! I'm teaching from home and I'll have to go back soon. In this video, we will first acknowledge the elephant in the room. Then we'll talk about how to take care of you first. We'll talk about what happens to the brain under stress. We'll talk about the importance of routines and safety, okay? And don't you worry, because along the way, I'll give you lots of good strategies. Now, I want you to think about this moment in time, the conversation we're having right now, as a new lens. So put on your glasses, all right? A new way of seeing yourself, your work, and your students. Now, if you see this guy here hanging around the screen, that means it's a strategy I've identified for you to use. All right? You ready to get started? Let's go. Let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. The world is a little bit different right now, yeah? You might be saying, Dr. Howard, it's a lot of it different. Yes. So let's talk about what our new normal is, okay? We have two sets of normals. We have our right now new normal, and then we'll have our after this new normal, all right? So what's the right now new normal? You've gone from moving around all day long and interacting with students and parents and staff members and coworkers to being still, right? Sitting at your computer for hours, sitting on your couch grading papers. You've gone from lots and lots of human connection to almost little human connection, right? We still have virtual connection, but it's not the same as joking and laughing and patting someone on the back and giving someone a hug, giving your students a high five, right? We miss that, don't we? And we've gone from being on the fly to planning everything. Now, we as educators, of course, we're always prepared, but there's also that element of being on the fly and adapting instruction as we need to, right? We do that every day in our classrooms and in our buildings. But because of our new normal right now, we've had to go from being able to adapt to having to plan out every little thing. Here's the thing I want you to know. Being clear and consistent is so important during this time. No matter how clear you think you're being, no matter how consistent you are being with the names of your files, the names of your folders, the directions, there will still be someone who is confused. I am speaking from personal experience. I am with you in the trenches as we move to completely online instruction. And I would spend hours and hours combing through my material, making sure I was clear and consistent. And when I was sure of it, I would post my stuff online. And guess what would happen? Someone would still be confused. We have to expect that during this time, all right? And we must respond with empathy and repetition. A little bit later, I'll talk about the importance of repetition, but we all understand what empathy is, right? So knowing that during this time, no matter how clear and consistent we're being, understand and expect that our students and our families and our coworkers will still need things to be explained to them until they understand. All right? All right. Now let's move on to step number 2, okay? Taking care of you first. This is not a message we receive often as educators. We're always supposed to think of our students and our families first, and that makes sense, right? That's why we picked this job. But I am here to send you a different message. Take care of yourself first. Because if you ain't no good, how are you going to be any good for your students and families? Okay? Breathing is so important. When we become stressed, Our breath is often the first thing to leave. Our diaphragm cramps, our chest becomes tight, and we take shallow breaths. Okay? But I want you to begin to remember the importance of your breath. Look at this image here. The difference in how our diaphragm expands and takes in more oxygen when we breathe through our nose. All right? So throughout your day, starting today, I want you to take a moment. Tune into your breath, even if it's only one time. All right? Small, tolerable doses. All right? We cannot take on the world every single day. All right? Set a small to do list for yourself today and take things in small, tolerable doses. Get up, get away from your computer, exercise, drink some water, right? Unplug in increments, okay? Sitting at your computer for hours and hours does no one any good, and you're left exhausted at the end of the day, all right? Small, tolerable doses. Take care of you first. Now, here's a tool that I love to give teachers. I call it the tick, the thing that instantly calms you. So, in a moment when you're feeling super duper stressed, maybe a Zoom call is not going well, or you've just finished talking with an irate parent and you are feeling on the edge, what is something that you can do in an instant at the drop of a hat that will calm you down and bring you back to center? For some people, it's a rubber band around their wrist, and popping it gives them that release of stress that they need to calm down again. For others, it may be pictures of a beautiful getaway destination that you have taped right next to your computer that you can look at and get right back to center. For me, it is pictures of shirtless men in yoga poses. That just calms me right on down. Research shows that peppermint wakes up the brain, and Werther's caramel flavored candy, not necessarily Werther's, but caramel flavored candy can help bring your brain back down. And for me, lavender oil is my savior. Whenever I'm about to do a training or a course or an online video, I make sure to get a whiff of my lavender and it instantly calms me down. I want you to take a quick moment. What is something that you can do starting today at the drop of a hat in an instant that can calm you down? All right, we're moving on to number 3, the stress response. So when life is good and predictable and consistent, all of our pathways are clear in our brain, information enters in through the brainstem and goes right to where it needs to go, right? But in moments like now, when we are stressed, parts of our brain begin to go offline, okay? Because our brain is hardwired for survival, when it feels stressed or it feels threatened, it shuts off the parts of the brain that are not necessary for survival. And our prefrontal cortex, the smart part of our brain, the brain we need for learning, it shuts down when we're stressed. So, guess what part of our brain is struggling to be online during this time? You guessed it, the prefrontal cortex. And the more we're in stress, the longer we're in stress, the more parts of our brain begin to shut down, right? You're probably feeling this right now. Your students and families are most certainly feeling this right now. So, what happens? Thinking is hard in this time. Remember, the smart part of our brain is offline. Remembering is hard. Are you finding that you're forgetting things more easily? So are your students and so are your families. Do you feel like you're on an emotional pendulum, swinging easily back and forth between energy, frustration, tired, sickness, even? Yep. These are all effects of our brain being under stress. So, what do we do? And what happens when we have to go back? Whether it's this school year or next school year, school is eventually going to resume in the traditional sense of being face to face with your kiddos, and it's going to look. So, what do we do when we have to go back? Take care of you first. Okay? After that staff meeting where all of the new changes are being rolled out, take care of you. After that first day when you're feeling exhausted, but you want to grade papers and get ready for the next day, take care of you first. After you read that long email with all of the new things that you have to learn before you go back, take care of you first. Small, tolerable doses. What is it that you have control over? Now, I know right now it feels like you have control over nothing. Remember, our brain is in a state of stress. We are experiencing and feeling things much more intensely than before, and everything might feel unpredictable. But you will have control over how the day moves in your classroom. Yes, the setup of our classrooms may end up looking different. Yes, the school day hours may look different, but you do have control over the rhythm of your classroom. So begin to think about this in small, tolerable doses. To the brain, rhythm is safe. Okay? When we're in our mother's womb, we hear her heartbeat millions and millions of times. That rhythm becomes ingrained in our brain that it's safe. So when we are born, we're seeking out that rhythm. Your brain is seeking rhythm. Okay? Repetition, repetition, repetition. That's how we learn, right? The importance of repetition is going to be so key when we go back to school. And we all know the importance of relationship, right? I don't need to talk about that. As I said before, to the brain, rhythm is safety, and safety is predictable and consistent. So let's start to think about ways that we can bring rhythm into our classroom. How do you start and end your day? Is it the same? Will it be the same? Will you create social time? Will there be a rhythm between lecture and group work and independent work? Here's a key one that not many people talk about. Will there be a rhythm to providing space in your class for extroverts who love to talk and connect with people, and introverts who like to process internally? I'm an introvert. I love when teachers give me time to think alone to myself and gather my thoughts. There needs to be a rhythm in your room for extroverts to learn and introverts to learn. There must be a rhythm to noise and quiet, movement and stillness. Different types of learning, such as kinesthetic and audiovisual. And of course, rhythm to working together, assessing together, and assessing individually. Here I go again. This is so very important. Take care of you first. When you return, whenever that is, you will be tired, okay? Take care of you first. Understand that everyone will be in a state of stress. Okay? Home routines will be the way of life for many of our kiddos. And we're going to have to find a way to create new routines, all right? They've been sleeping in. They've been eating whenever and wherever they want. They've been cooped up. They've been in front of screens, okay? Understanding and expecting this and taking care of you first, okay? Use your tick. When you feel yourself feeling overwhelmed, take a moment to take care of you before stepping into the situation. And again, the importance of being clear and consistent with empathy and repetition. It's the way that we learn. And repetition creates rhythm, and rhythm is safe to the brain. We want to send the messages to our brain that we are safe because we have not been feeling very safe for the last couple of weeks, right? Okay. Now, research shows that 2 days from now, the conversation that you and I have just had, 70% of it will leave your brain, maybe even more, knowing that we're now in a state of alarm. Okay, I want you to pick one thing to try. Maybe the tick, maybe starting to think about the rhythm you'd like to create for your classroom when you go back. Okay, pick one thing to try. And if you're interested in learning more, if after our moment together you're like, Dr. Howard, I want some more. Great, great news. There are more courses for you to choose from. Down below, you will find a link to my website, which includes tons of, not tons, but there are 5 courses available for purchase and more being added every day, right? Many of you need hours for license renewal. Many of you are lifelong learners. Many of you are interested in delving more deeply into topics that maybe before you didn't have time to. So please take a look at my website. Please take a look at the courses. They are being offered at great affordable introductory rates right now. I'm also available for coaching and consulting. All right. I'll provide my contact information down below. Please get in touch with me if you'd like some more support. And as a free bonus, I am giving away access to my resource list, which contains tons of content about cultural diversity, trauma, and more. The link is down below in the description. If you have questions, if you'd like support, if you just want to talk to someone, email me. I would love to connect with you. Arianna at radicallearningspaces.com. And if you liked what you saw today, please, please, please share. This is free. Let's get it out to everyone. We all need support during this time, yes? And as promised, here is all of my social media information. My email address is there. Please let's connect. We will get through this together and come out triumphant on the other side. Be great. Be the change you want to see. Be a radical educator.